Hello readers, I'm Amy, trying to show off a slightly different background. I thought I'd do the other side of my library, also this way I can kind of like lean on my couch if I want to. But today is going to be most of the rest of my book haul. So if you watched my first of my two-part Las Vegas vlogs, then you will have seen the book haul from the writer's block in Las Vegas, very large book haul, and then I did a video 2 weeks after that that was hauling the comic books and the books from the smaller bookstore called Avant Pop that I went to, and I have been hauling books since then. I will talk about how much I spent on books at like an end of the year video. I haven't decided yet. I might tell you what my 6-month total is when I do like a mid-year catch-up. But there's a lot of books here. I've been trying to get different parts of series or pick up books that I wanted to pick up but that weren't available at the stores that I went to. I've done some mood purchasing, so much. So let's start with the stuff that I don't have, because there's 3 that I can think of. I am a Simon Books buddy with Simon & Schuster. And one of the books that I got I'm going to talk about, but the other one should be coming in the next week or 2, I think. I got access to a physical copy of Naomi Alderman's next book. If you don't remember who she is, she wrote The Power a couple of years ago, and it was making the rounds about women who have like these electrical powers. Very feminist, love it, so I'm super excited for this. And then Illumicrate has a new book box. It's like a quarterly book box, and I think it's only the book. It's not like bookmarks and teacups and all these extra things. But it's called Evernight, and it is a horror book box, and I'm not going to spoil it here, but if you ask down in the comments, I will answer you. I did figure out what the horror book is going to be for July, so I should again get that in like another week or 2-ish. And again, that's quarterly, so that'll be 4 times a year. I should be getting a special edition horror book from them that'll be like a mystery. And then the third book that I don't have, I recently read Fever Dream by George R.R. Martin. I am not at all interested in Game of Thrones for multiple reasons, but Fever Dream I heard existed and was a vampire novel, so I thought I'd read it. I listened to the audiobook. I loved it. I have some issues with how with the racial terms that were used, but that's a whole other conversation that I feel in no way qualified to have. I've talked to some people about it. It just gets very complicated. But regardless, I still really enjoyed the book, even though I have complicated feelings about it, so I did go ahead and purchase a physical copy of that, which was on back order, but is in the mail, and I should get it this week. So, that is the books that I know of that I don't have, not counting pre-orders for the next 6 months. Now, let's go on to my biggest books so we can get these precious, precious things out of the way. I have not read Priory of the Orange Tree, but it keeps catching my eye because the cover is gorgeous and the story sounds interesting. It's like, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't, I don't know. And then Illumicrate was selling just those editions, like you didn't have to buy the Illumicrate subscription, you could just get the duology on its own. I wish they were signed. For how much money they cost, they probably should have been signed, but regardless, they're beautiful. So, I'm going to show off a little bit. This is my copy of Priory of the Orange Tree. You've got the sprayed edges. It includes a bookmark that's attached. You've got some gorgeous end pages, some really great illustrations, and then the whole outside of the book is also art, and it's got some of that gold foil on it. So beautiful. I have no idea when I'm going to read these. I have a couple of chunky fantasy books that I've been meaning to read, and I keep thinking that winter is the perfect time to cozy up with a really big fantasy book, and then I end up spending winter reading classics instead. But one of these months here soon, I am going to get to both of these. Then we have A Day of Fallen Night, also a gorgeous book cover. Kudos to whoever designed these, like the original book covers and the Illumicrate book covers, because they're gorgeous. This one also has a bookmark. This one, I think the end pages are both the same in this one. I haven't really noticed if they're the same in the other one. And then we have another beautiful hardback. So I did get both of those. I have never spent that amount of money on books that I have not read. But wish me luck, because I was having a shopping spree. I went to Vegas. I went crazy. I want to own beautiful things. Currently reading, I have, since I already read and I loved The Mostly True Adventures of Tanner and Louise by Colleen Oakley, and I've been wanting to read The Invisible Husband of Frick Island, and I just hadn't gotten around to it yet. So I did go ahead and order this. I am currently listening to the audiobook because I've been going back and forth between a physical and audio mood, and I was working in the garden and I wanted something to listen to, and this was the book on my shelf that I hadn't read yet that was immediately available. So, listening to that, enjoying it. I finished reading A Secret History of Witches, which is on my TBR for the year, which I will also discuss in like a mid-year catch-up, tell you how I'm doing with my TBR challenge. Good and bad, kind of depends on how you look at it. But I finished that. I was really in a witchy mood, and this just popped up on Bookshop while I was shopping for some other books on there. So went ahead and picked it up. It's a pretty, I think it's a new release, like just in the last month or two. Black Candle Women, I don't remember what it's about, but I remember it feeling kind of practical magic-y, so thought I would give that a try. A Woman Is No Man by Etaf Rum. I have pre-ordered Evil Eye, which will be coming out, I believe, in September, because I read this and I loved it, and I've been wanting a physical copy since I listened to it, so I went ahead and picked this up. Back to the Simon Books Buddy thing. My first physical edition of a book that I got was Temple Folk by Aliyah Bilal. Hopefully I didn't completely butcher that, but this is a collection of short stories about Black... There's my post-it notes. I've been looking for my post-it notes. Anyways, collection of short stories about Black Muslims. It feels very quiet to me. Like, there's not a ton of action. These are fiction stories rather than nonfiction. And there was a lot I didn't understand. It keeps mentioning the death of the messenger, and all my Google searches say that the messenger is Muhammad, but in these stories, the death of the messenger was like really, really, really recent, so it can't possibly be Muhammad. So I have no idea who they're referring to when they say the messenger. There was a lot of stuff in here that was really confusing for me. Some of the reviews are saying that you don't have to be familiar with Islam in order to read this book. I feel differently. I think having a basic understanding would help a lot in reading this, and I just don't have that basic understanding. That said, it's very well written. It has a really just stunning blue color, and I really like the simplicity of this book cover. So thanks again to Simon Books for that. The Writing Retreat, I couldn't even tell you where I saw this. I don't know if it was on Instagram. I don't know if it was on Bookshop while I was scrolling through, but it feels kind of like Kill Creek, where you've got these authors, I think it's like authors in a cabin and horror stuff happens. This is like a thriller book. I just thought it looked interesting, and I'm getting into I'm enjoying, I can't seem to find my words today. I'm enjoying haunted house books. I am enjoying books about authors, so I think that this could be a really great one. With the cover, I might wait until like late fall to read that, but I'm also not sure I'll be able to wait that long. Venko, at first I thought that this was called Venko Coven, but it's just called Venko, but it has something to do with a company of witches, which I think sounds amazing. And the title of this, like, it's called Venko, but with these repeats of like Coven and Venko and everything, it just really sticks in my mind. So, got a copy. Silence of the Lambs. I had only watched the movie once, and I did watch it again after reading it, but I read Silence of the Lambs recently. Buddy, you gotta hold still. Ow! I read Silence of the Lambs recently, and I loved it. I really loved it. I have some issues with how transness is discussed and characterized in that book. There was some discussion from the author within the book about this person not being a true trans person and how it was part of his serial killer shtick and his mindset, and I have really mixed feelings on that. That said, I think the book was well written. I really had a good time reading it. I read it with friends as a buddy read, and I really love how Clarice's character is written, because coming from a male author, particularly an older male author, like at the time that this was written, male author, her character is written really well, and the author seems to have at least a basic understanding of what it's like to be a woman in a man's world. So I really enjoyed that. And I had no idea that... I knew there are other books about Hannibal Lecter, but I had no idea that Silence of the Lambs is actually a sequel, not the first book in a series. So, like with Psycho, I don't want to read the other books from the Psycho series, because the first one was written because he wanted to write it, and then I feel like the other ones were written because of the popularity of the movie. I don't know. I haven't actually looked into that. That is a total assumption. But knowing that Silence of the Lambs was a sequel and it's written that well, I wanted to continue with the rest of the series, so I went ahead and picked up Red Dragon, which is the first book. And I want to say Hannibal is just the name of the third book, so I'll probably pick up that one as well. But excited to try that. My husband made a Target order because he's been buying more Spider-Man stuff, and you'll know all about the Spider-Man stuff if you watched my extra Vegas book haul last week. But he picked up Stephen King's Fairy Tale. He thought I might be interested in Stephen King diving into fairy tales. I'm pretty sure that Eye of the Dragon was supposed to be a kind of fairy tale, but I haven't read that, so my word means nothing. But he picked this up. I don't know how soon I'm going to read this one. This one might be a bit on the back burner, but I do really love the cover of this. I thought they did a great job. Lastly, I have 2 Barnes & Noble purchases. This was one of those buy one, get one 50% off. Okay, bit of a lighting change and a sound change and a camera change. My camera just hates me these days, and I just emptied, it said the card was full, I emptied the card, and it still says it's full. So I think I just need a new memory card, and I could probably do with some new batteries as well. So, handheld phone to finish this. I promise, I'm almost done. My camera is sick of me. I hope you aren't sick of me yet. 2 books, Barnes & Noble, buy one, get one half off. I finally picked up Her Majesty's Royal Coven, which I've been eyeing, and I just hadn't picked it up, and I hadn't picked it up, and it was in the buy one, get one half off pile, so I've picked it up. It'll be my first Juno Dawson. I've been wanting to try Juno Dawson and just hadn't gotten around to it, so I guess that's going to be my first one. And then this one actually had a table with like a big advertisement and everything, and I saw an octopus and it said speculative fiction, and Children of Ruin was automatically in my mind, so I went ahead and picked it up. I am very nervous about the fact that it was categorized as speculative fiction because I tend to really not like speculative fiction. Speculative fiction to me is a mix of sci-fi, literary, and kind of experimentalism, and that mix of things, like experimenting with writing and having the literary bits in there, just ends up not being my thing. But the premise where these octopuses are slowly kind of gaining sentience like humans, it sounds very sci-fi to me, so we will see. But it had an octopus on the cover, so picked it up. That is it. My arm is getting very tired already holding up my phone. So I'm not going to pick up the book stack. I know this is like the second time in 3 videos that I have failed to pick up the book stack, but I will pick up a book stack when my camera is in a better mood. That's going to be it from me. Please like, subscribe, be my friend on social media. I will see all of you in my next video. Bye, friends.